is the sign of an empty mind. Is it true that then a cluttered desk is a cluttered mind? The answer to that is only a question of mind over clutter. Please welcome Patty Brown.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Confucius once said, men's nature are all alike. It is their habits that carry them apart. And so as one man's trash is another man's treasure, it can also be said that one woman's clutter is another man's organization. I pondered the question as I stared at my house, thinking about the tremendous task of having to organize and pack away things in an effort to downsize my house and get ready for some remodeling in a house that I've lived in for 15 years with 15 years worth of collection and clutter. But first I had to define what is clutter. Clutter is different things to different people, but it is a collection of many things in an organized and an unorganized disposition that can define one's character, can also define one's sex as a man or a woman. In mathematical terms, clutter is defined as a collection of data, a collection of sets. Data as in a cluster of things. And that is how I define my clutter. Take, for instance, the collection of books I have in my family room. I have many bookcases stacked with books. They're all neatly stacked. But I have books stacked under my coffee table. I have them stacked neatly on top of the table. And I enjoy these books. I have books that I haven't read in years, like my children's books, my collection of children's books. So I sit there and I ponder, is this clutter or is this a collection worthy of keeping? Or am I just cluttering my brain just thinking about it? Would the sign of cleaning up all these books be a sign of my empty brain and empty clutter? So I kept thinking, how about the way we define clutter when it comes to the battle of the sexes? Take, for instance, my closet. It has been called the Imelda Marcos of the shoe closets, with 500 pairs of shoes, all neatly organized in the style of usage, by color, by season. I have shoes in boxes that I haven't seen in 10 years. But to me, they define part of who I am. They're all neatly stacked. And as I sit there and I think, well, is this a clutter or is this a collection? I also think about the way men view their clutter, their garages. When a man has a garage full of tools, whether it's neatly organized or it's scattered about, and he goes out to look for that screwdriver, he can always say, I know where it is. How about a man who has a yard full of tractors scattered about? He knows exactly where they are and where to find one when he needs that. Is that clutter to him, or is that organization? Bob said, can I quote that to my wife, mind over clutter? So as you see, as men and women, we view clutter in a different way. Clutter can also lead to finding treasures. Have you ever pondered what would you do if a winning lottery ticket were lost in that pile of clutter that you have? How about if you found a winning ticket in a pile of clutter and realized that it was still valid? Once when I was cleaning out the garage and the clutter within my garage, which to me was all neatly stacked away because there was boxes after boxes all neatly stacked in the shelves, I came across a small box that I hadn't seen in years. And it was packed away and it had a label on it. And the label had my late grandmother's name and address on it. So I thought, wow, my grandmother's been passed away, long gone for 10 years. So I was all excited. I thought, well, this has got to be something interesting. I opened up the box. And to my surprise and amazement, what I found was a dental replica of her jaw. Teeth in it. I was shocked. I thought, wow, this is my Oma, my grandmother, coming out of the box and talking to me. Clattering. That was my treasure, priceless. So one never knows what you're going to find in that clutter. Clutter can also be defined in cultural differences. Just as here in our Western culture, we like big spaces and we like to fill our spaces with things that define us, whether it's furniture, whether it's decorations, whether it's collections. In other cultures, like in Eastern cultures, clutter is defined by lack of clutter. It's defined with minimalist spaces, with minimalist approach for furniture and decoration. In Feng Shui terms, I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but it's something that I know and dearly like. The thing that strikes me the most is the lack of clutter that one should have when entering their home or their business. It should allow energy to come in. It should be clutter-free so that one can organize their thoughts and organize their energy to enter the space without being caught up with clutter. So clutter can also be an attractive nuisance. Just like if you were looking for that lottery ticket that you thought had the winning number, but in the background you hear the TV going and all of a sudden the announcer reads out the numbers. It's clutter. It's all clutter in your space. But the announcer reads the numbers and they're not your winning ticket. So clutter can be an attractive nuisance from time to time. So in conclusion, I'd like to leave you with a thought that mind over clutter is really a personal view of how you view clutter. And whether you prefer to have an empty desk and have it neatly organized, or whether you have your desk in your mind with organizational things that are all cluttered, it's all about time and efficiency. And in order to master mind over clutter, I urge you to take action. Take action in how you're going to organize yourself. Confucius said, it doesn't matter how slowly you go, so as you don't stop. So please think about that when you are thinking about clutter. It's all mind over clutter. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.